There are several ways of relating to the universe, being connected. There's one where one thinks deliberately and consciously about a situation, a problem, whatever you might want to use with your intellect. Or you might use your physiology in conjunction with your intellect in a deliberate, conscious manner to investigate, achieve a resolution, an understanding. There's another which one can use for very complex or complicated situations that one wants to understand. And with these, sometimes you don't even know the right questions to ask. And having the right questions and the right form of questions is vital to getting good results or useful results. So one thing one can do is to gather together in one's mind all the different aspects related to the problem one is trying to consider. You don't have to explain them to yourself. You just say, such and such happens here, such and such happens in this, and I feel this about that, I'm wondering this about this, and you hold it all together in your mind, just like you would hold a bunch of leaves. And you let it consolidate. So you've got it like that, and you're holding it. And then you create an urge or a desire, an impetus, an impulse, an impact, so to speak, with it. And you hold that together, both the components of the problem, the situation, and this urging, pressing, pushing for a solution, for your mind to come up with a solution for you regarding this. And you sustain that for a certain period of time that is regulated by what you're considering. It may be a few seconds, it may be a few minutes. And when you've adequately put that in the hopper, so to speak, then another process, which is unnamed, it's in that process's hands, and you can forget about it. You can forget about it. Let that process take over. And that process has access to things in life, in the universe, in areas that we can't really understand intellectually, but a solution will come back at some point, maybe in an hour, maybe in a day or a month. Your mind will know when it happens if you're paying attention. How will you know when the answer comes back? This is where you utilize the physiology to frame the question. With the intellect or conscious mind, you pose a question. In this area, with the unnamed function, you become the question. You become not the question, but your question. You become your question. You will receive the answer. An important distinction. How will you know when the answer has arrived? Because the answer will have the meaning that your mind will recognize that this is the answer from your inquiry. This is if you're cognizant of what you've done. Many people go through life and they say, oh, the words just jumped off the page, they were so meaningful. Just, providence was responsible. It was meant to be. It was a sign. Well, that's a characteristic, but that is the unnamed process. They were unaware that they had triggered. But this meaning, this is inherent only for a short period of time. In other words, you may be a month later after you've initiated this process and put it in, activated it, that you will see, it could be a pile of sticks. It could be a sound from an animal. It could be words on a page. And there will be meaning. And you will realize this is the answer to what you had initiated a month ago, a week ago, a day ago. But you have to absorb the meaning, because that pile of sticks, that phrase, the next day, that meaning will not be there. That is why meaning is different from words. Meaning is different from speech. Meaning can be in anything. And if you see meaning in something, that is because it is appropriate to you. Somebody else, if they see meaning in the same phrase, their physiology is different from yours. It's like a tailored suit. Their physiology has a tailored suit to them. Your physiology has a tailored suit to you. And that meaning is the same tailoring. It's different for you from the other person. And that meaning, you will come back to that meaning, and you may see that phrase. You may come back to that phrase later, and the words don't jump off the page anymore. But that's because meaning has gone. Meaning is not linked to a phrase or a word or a pile of sticks or a sound. It is linked to you at that moment. When you found meaning, it was there. And so, now, it sounds straightforward, right? But getting to be familiar and capable in utilizing this type of questioning. It's extremely valuable for complex problems where you don't understand even maybe the questions to ask. And so you can ask this same questions in different forms. If you get back an answer and it wasn't quite contained everything you need, you can go back and rephrase. Again, you have to become your question again. Put in the variables, put in the new information you got, and ask again in the same manner. And you receive an adjusted meaning back again. And so you can use this to further develop an investigation. But again, you have limited control. It's not like the intellect, conscious deliberation. You don't really have control over this process. But the process has access to what might regard as a database, so to speak, of life. And it can return answers that you could never have figured out because there's no logical jump. These answers can be completely seem out of the blue and disjunct from any previous thing you've known. And that's one of the extreme valuable things about getting used to and capable in using this function. Now, a third function, a third way of relating to the universe, whatever, is the open window. And that is, there are times when ideas, some people call them inspiration, but there are times when ideas just come in your open window. And so it's important to leave your window open as much as you can if you want to get new things. And these things are they're just like insects, bugs, fragrances, all manner of things just floating and coming in your window if you leave it open. And you just have to be receptive to these things. And there's no theme. You can have one type of a bug, and then you could have one type of a beetle, and one type of an animal, and one type of a fragrance, and one after the other, they will be unrelated to each other and unrelated to anything you're thinking about in your life. It's just having an open window, and the air and the morning dew just will float in. You just have to keep a pencil and paper or something handy and write it down, because they won't last for long. You may think about it and you may remember stuff, but if you want to accurately use any of this stuff that's floating in your window, you need to be able to write it down quickly, because you get the inbox to it and you have got to, it's like a souffle. It's there on your table, and if you don't eat it, it's gone. So this open window is there are times when things, just like during the day, there are times when the morning dew floats in the window, and there are times when not much comes in the window. And you can recognize these times. You can even know ahead of time that these times will occur. But this is extremely valuable to getting ideas that just, there's no correlation to anything. And so there's no telling. It's like throwing your net into the ocean and hauling it in. It's just, you never know what you're going to get. Well, those are 3 ways of relating